Well, it's a myth, as you call it, because there's no ambiguity. The role of the deputy governor is clearly defined in the Constitution. In fact, every aspect of the Constitution that deals with the governor deals with the deputy governor. The way the governor is elected is the way the deputy governor is elected. The way the governor could be removed is the same way the deputy governor could be removed. The only aspect that is different, the responsibility of the governor and his powers and authority, is clearly defined in the Constitution. But that of the deputy governor just say one word, as assigned by the governor. It then means that the deputy governor is actually the second in command in the administration, but subordinate to the governor. And his responsibility is as assigned by the governor. From my own perspective, I had a wonderful time as deputy governor. I had very important and sensitive roles to perform the governor gave me, and he supported me. And of course, I aligned myself absolutely with the programs and policies of the administration during our tenure. So there wasn't really much of a problem. But the truth must be told. The nation is littered with issues of governors and deputy governors being at loggerheads. Even during my own time, at the tail of our administration, I had issues with the governor, basically on the issue of succession, not as per my role as deputy governor. I didn't have any problem whatsoever with the governor. So it all depends on the attitude and character of the deputy governor, and of course the way he perceives and sees his role. Some deputy governor might think that they are equal to the governor, or they may want to be competing with the governor. It's not the case. That's why the word deputy comes before governor. It's deputized. It's more like the second in command and subordinate to the governor. So I don't think there's any ambiguity at all.
I expect to have a fantastic relationship, right? Thank God my deputy governor is also my friend, right? I've known him for close to 20 years now. Yes, I mean, as individuals of various backgrounds, of varied backgrounds, yeah, we might have understanding differences, or we might have issues that we just need to straighten out, you know, which is natural with anybody. But I can assure you that whatever it is, we will resolve it very quickly. We will, you know, espouse ideas and opinions, you know, and I imagine, you know, that at the end of the day, right, Lagosians will be better off for it. There certainly would not be any doubts in the minds of Lagosians that our government will be a government of rift. No, Lagosians want you to solve their own problems for them. Lagosians want you to make life a lot easier for them, right? And that's what we'll be doing. You know, Femi and I, we know what the job entails, right? And for whatever reason, if there are disagreement, if it has to do with the job, we will resolve it. We will certainly resolve it and we'll move on, right? So there's nothing for us to be worried about or to be panicky about or to have side talks about. No, the jobs are clear, the roles are well defined. You know, the cooperation is very deep. The engagement will be very robust, and the relationship is way beyond now, right? And we hope to keep it like that.
I think those who are saying that I will categorize them as belonging to the class of those you call the opposition, saying that one-man rule and all that. They're just mentally vacuous at best, or merely playing to the gallery to attract attentions to themselves for their own ulterior motives. Yes, I'm sure it's the governor of Kaduna State that brought this one into focus recently from the lecture or whatever it is, you know, that he came to give in Lagos and said those statements. Let us define what exactly is Godfatherism. Even in religion, isn't there a Godfather? Even when you have a newborn baby or child, a lot of family members aggregate together, they're giving names and all that, and some are labeled, oh, I'm his godmother or godfather and stuff like that. So even in religion, there is godfatherism. And more so in politics. Everywhere in the world, my own understanding of godfatherism in the esoteric format is somebody who helps somebody to achieve or to climb a ladder, either social, intellectual, business, whatever ladder, to climb can be regarded as a godfather. If I'm in a position to help you succeed, progress, or develop, then I can be labeled your godfather. That is in the esoteric form, in the positive form. Now, when you now say godfatherism in a negative context, that is what we don't have here. Awolowo, the sage, our revered sage in this part of the country, he was a godfather. How? He bred many leaders. He gave birth, not biologically, but he gave birth to many leaders. He created platform or platforms that enabled several other leaders to flourish. That's a godfather. So if you refer to Asiwaju Tinubu as a godfather, then I will put him in that mold of a godfather because he has also bred leaders. He has created a system, a platform that has enabled scores, myriad of people and leaders to flourish. But when you put it in a negative form of the El-Rufai format, we don't have that there. And I also want to throw a question. El-Rufai himself, can he say honestly in good conscience that he is not a beneficiary of godfathers? Has he not had people who helped him to climb the political ladder? Who was El-Rufai before Atiku brought him out and took him to BP, Bureau of Public Enterprises at that time, which led to his being noticed by Obasanjo? Was he Obasanjo's younger brother? Did Obasanjo pluck him from his cubicle to come and make him minister? Somebody gave him a platform to get noticed before Obasanjo took him on and made him a minister. So Atiku was his godfather, Obasanjo was his godfather, and now Buhari is his godfather because we have seen him actually genuflecting before Buhari, kneeling down and paying obeisance like this. There are pictures of him doing that to Buhari. And in fact, it is common knowledge anyway that he rode on the political wing of Buhari to become governor of Kaduna State. That's not debatable. You know it in Kaduna. So is he himself not a beneficiary of that godfatherism that he seeks to denigrate? And he said that he had retired some godfathers in Kaduna. I do not know of any godfather that he retired in Kaduna. I do not know of any godfather that helped him into office in Kaduna, or on whose back he rode into office in Kaduna, that he retired. Except if he meant Senator Shehu Sani that he fought. Shehu Sani himself would never label himself a godfather. Or Hunkuyi, whose house he demolished, that one will not call himself a godfather. And I don't think any other person will call those ones a godfather. So I don't know the godfathers that he retired in Kaduna. to justify his rhetorics. So I think he was only playing to the gallery to draw attention to himself. You know, again, it was like Awolowo when at one of Awolowo's, on one occasion, one of his birthdays, when the then head of state, General Badamasi Babangida, wrote him a birthday letter and called Awolowo the issue in Nigerian politics. He said Awo was the issue in Nigerian politics, which meant Awo was very, very important, that whatever was happening in the country, you had to think of what would Awo say, what will he do, and all that. So he was the issue in Nigerian politics. Tinubu has become the issue in Nigerian politics. So if you want to attract attention to yourself, the easier route is to take a pot shot at Tinubu so that you will draw attention to yourself for your own ulterior motive. That is my own response to
The idea behind Lagos Praise is very simple. I was very involved in the campaign. Post-campaign, post-results, elections announced, one could see the idea. We had crossed the hurdle of the ability, the competence, the skills of the candidate and his deputy. And the idea was, what next? On reflection, one looked at the challenges confronting Lagos. Lagos has an enormity of challenges in the various areas identified in Project Theme. And what occurred to me is we need to support this administration in the place of prayer. Now, that's not to take away what is necessary. We're not hiding under a guise of prayer in Lagos Praise. We're saying we have seen that Lagos as a state, Lagosians, the people of Lagos, the city of Lagos, needs to be covered in a blanket of prayer 24/7. And that's what we intend to do. An interdenominational prayer group inviting all Christians from all walks of life to pray continuously for Lagos. As it is said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray. And that's what we're doing. We are praying for the city. We are praying for the land. We will organize prayer walks at strategic sites, strategic areas of the city. We will gather in places. We will pray online. Already our social pages, our WhatsApp group, all buzzing with that daily prayer. And we intend to go on online daily, every morning, prayers for Lagos and the leaders of Lagos, that God will give them the requisite wisdom needed for a time such as this, to take Lagos to a greater level, for us to be able to realize that dream, to make the dream for a greater Lagos a reality. Lagos Praise is simple. It's direct. It's prayer for Lagos. It's 24/7 prayers. It's gathering people to say, let's just pray the next level for the city.
Thank you very much. You are right that this is the first time in the past 20 years that we have this kind of scenario. It's quite unfortunate that it happens that way. But in our case in APC, we take seriously the affairs of the general populace and members of the party, especially the downtrodden ones. We had a series of experiences in the course of this administration that has just exited. We'll be exiting in the next 1 or 2 weeks. However, the affairs of the general PSP people, that is the elderly women, men, the sweepers, and those that are actually operating on these trucks.
Yes, the idea of removing all the street sweepers from the roads and then incapacitating the PSP operators gave the leaders of the party a serious concern. And as you can see, there is so much garbage almost in every nook and crannies of the state, which turned the state almost to the point where it was as during the period of the military, when Ashwaju came in before restructuring the pattern of how we evacuate refuse from all the homes. Deviating from that gave us a bad image, both locally and internationally. And during that period, there was a fear of Lassa fever, because rats are beginning to have a place of abode in all these debris that are all over the state. So they brought in the Visionscape. The concept of which Visionscape brought into the state is quite different from the kind of revenue we generate. They might have been very effective in the area, but here in Nigeria, it is not as effective as we expected in Lagos State. With that, there was concern from the leaders, and they felt that they were not consulted, neither were the intention was made known until these people came into the state. It appears that they don't even know their terrain. The operations was not as effective as it could have been. So that was what gave the final straw to the patience of the leadership. So later they actually closed down Loma headquarters by removing all the staff back to Alausa, and as if they are going to start a new process. And that is itself gave the PSP operators concern, and they started protesting. So with that, the leadership now felt that, well, we were informed that the incumbent was invited and matters were discussed with him, but it yielded no positive result. At that point, they felt that, well, if given the opportunity for a second term, it may be an adverse, damaging effect on the party itself. So that was how they took that decision. And it was not even the present governor-elect alone that was considered. There is a screening process. It just happens to be the one that emerged at the final stage. There was a screening process of which he himself doesn't even know. There are people that they put on the line, and they screened their antecedents in terms of their professional skills and the ability to govern Lagos State with all this antecedents. And then the governor-elect also had been through the mill in the public service, so he wasn't a novice. So he knew exactly all the nitty-gritty that it needs to be known. Is equally a professional. So that opportunity came to his doorstep. And I can assure you that when he was initially informed, he was dumbfounded, because he couldn't even speak for 25 minutes or so, because it didn't hit him with surprise. But like a person, you have to take up the challenge. You have been given an assignment which people believe that you have the capacity to manage. So there's no way you can now turn back and say, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. And put your talent to scale and put all your ability at it. With the support of your peers and the general public, you'll be able to achieve success. But one thing is that don't allow power to consume you. Because at the bottom line, one is responsive to the generality of the populace. So that was how he emerged. Very quiet, humble, intelligent, diligent, and responsible. I have no doubt he will meet the challenges and he will even surpass what expectation everybody is looking at. But one thing for sure is that he's going to meet a huge challenge on ground. He needs to restructure the entirety of the public service. He needs to put a structure in place going back the memory lane of what happened in 2006 when civil service was restructured. Some ministries that are very cogent to the needs of the generality of the rural areas had been abrogated or scrapped. They need to be resuscitated. All our parastatal organizations need to be properly monitored for effectiveness of discharge of their responsibilities. Not necessarily because the ministry are supposed to be supervisory ministry. There must be an independent body that will have to monitor the activities. That was how and why things were moving at a very fast pace during the era of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Fashola. One thing is that by scrapping it, you don't even look at the effect of it. Then you subsume them under a ministry that have a wider responsibility without looking back. In Lagos area metropolis today, you have a high level of people migrating from the rural setting to Lagos. That's why you have over-congestion. Many people sleep under the bridge because they want to come for greener pastures. Things that are supposed to go to them in their own area has been taken away, so they have to struggle to get back to Lagos. Most of them don't even have any place or people to come and meet here. If you go around Igomu area, you see so many of them lying sitting on the floor or sleeping on the street there. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board and do a proper restructuring of the service in order to meet the challenges that will bring a holistic approach of development to the entirety of the state, not one segment of it. So I'm sure a lot of things is going on now, trying to reinvent the wheel of progress. I think with the work that they have done so far in terms of preparatory for taking over the mantle of leadership here in the state, they have looked into an area where they can incorporate some new agenda into the old 10-point agenda that was being used by the two earlier in civilian administration besides that of Jakonde. Jakonde too came in with a focus. Definitely there must be a drive that we need to do. And there must be something we call continuity. Like the governor-elect has said, he's not going to abandon any project that this present administration has done. He's going to incorporate the old administration's project, which have been abandoned for quite some time, revive them, because it's the public fund that were used in developing all these projects for the benefit of the generality of the populace. We just don't set it aside as if nothing has happened. Even if we are doing it, setting it aside, the populace know that these structures are there. So I think it's time that we must not try to be in the position where we have to set a project, people-oriented project, be for the purpose of our own personal something. So. Well, we are going to move at a very fast pace. That I know that administration is determined to do. Although the magnitude of the financial position of the state will have to be properly determined. Nobody knows whatever the position of finance of the state is at the moment until final taking over and you begin to see or examine volume of debts that have been owed to contractors, stages of things that are happening within the ministerial structures, and things of that nature, and what are the needs that are actually need to be improved upon. All those aspects has to be looked into, determine what the volume of finance base that we have before you can now project how you are going to do or tackle the project. You know, the Lagosians are very, very restless. They are expecting miracle to happen overnight. So we must also challenge ourselves to meet the needs of these people so that they don't feel disappointed. And I'm sure they will never be in this circumstance. That is the expectation of the general populace. He has not even told anybody that he's coming out of Rome, but that is what the people want. So people are flying that kite. Unfortunately, some people are jittery about it, but you cannot throw away a gold or a diamond for just a raw iron. So if the man is capable of pulling Nigeria out of his dead wood, then there's nothing stopping him. He's a Nigerian, he has the qualification, he has the expertise, he has the knowledge, and he's open to the people. So there are so many qualities that the man has that others don't have. So they cannot just adjudge him by trying to blackmail him that they cannot come out, because that's what exactly people were trying to preempt. But I'm sure when the time comes, we all will see what the population will say. Godfatherism is not a question of just picking or just pushing any kind of person. What I tell you that some people are jittery is exactly what is happening with El-Rufai's statement. I want to know how El-Rufai retained his own governorship candidacy. Is it the best material in the north? It's part of the cabal. So he cannot come and tell us here in Lagos that we have Godfatherism. Yes, Ashwaju mentored so many people, and you can see the quality of the people that he has mentored. They are not just riffraffs. They are people that can stand their ground anywhere. So definitely, it's not a question of God. If you are good, you are good. If you are not good, you are just not good. So it's not a question of you want to lobby me to become something that you cannot even manage. So these are things that I believe that he should manage his own Kaduna that he has turned into a war zone. Than coming here to Lagos to come and tell us exactly what we are doing. We can't, if we put Lagos State on the same pedestal with Kaduna, is it telling me that Lagos State is far behind Kaduna, or they are still coming here to Lagos to come and learn what we do? So I'm very certain that we are not complaining, really. If it's Godfatherism, we love it. I think it's progressive Godfatherism, and we love that. So we are okay by what we are doing. Well, I want to wish the incoming governor-elect a very successful tenure. And I want to advise him that he should listen to advice and don't allow people that will surround him to mislead him into something that will try to damage the image of his government.
After 20 years of democracy, the conception on every Lagosian's mind is the unprecedented growth the state has continued to see. From 1999 till date, the state has had 3 governors, 2 have had 2 tenures, and 1 a single tenure. The candidate, Babajide Sanwo Olu, when running, was the candidate on everyone's mind, and now he has won the elections. Let's see what people on the streets of Lagos have to say about him and the expectations they have for the new Babajide Sanwo Olu administration. Join me for this wonderful interview.
I'm a market seller. I sell ugu, egusi, ogbono, oil, fish, stockfish, crayfish. You should build a shop for us. give us a place to sell our market. He should stop all this agboro to disturb us, so that we can make our own money, so that poor people can live life well.
Me, I like the new government you come to in this Lagos. I like the money they give them for the area boss for this size. I want to, like this government, you reduce the money, or if you are so neighbors to top to collect the money completely, if you are so reduce the money, if you are so, they pay 700 every day, almost 700. I want to the government make it reduce the money, or less than 300 or 400 like this one. The area boys can disturb person any Okada for this road. Sometimes I go beat person, you carry bottleneck for the check for the another person. The Okada people for this area, you can collect swap up too much for the area boss for the size.
The governor is still under the platform of APC, and I'm very sure they have their structure on ground, and I think any governor that is coming in is still working on their plans. I think we are still going to have a great Lagos, and we are expecting much, which we believe is going to deliver. I think the most challenges we have here is electricity, which everybody is clamoring, and not only the people staying here in Lagos, other investors that are coming to Lagos. The most challenges they always clamor for, electricity, which we believe when it come in as a governor of Lagos State, I think that is the major thing we expect him to tackle first before other things. People like us now that we are struggling for our daily bread, that we struggle on our own, we are self-employed. I think what we are expecting from him, most especially our people that were doing this kind of the job I'm doing, most of them always clamor. They need money to push forth their business, which there's no money. So I think if there can be a scheme for people like us who can come and borrow money, and they can set a panel that can monitor the job, and as the money is going, so that we can be remitting back to maybe the scheme they have set to be helping people like us, and other people who also need money to actually empower their business. So I think that is the expectation from someone like me. That's what I'm expecting, you know. Because if we see people that, if government can support us, I believe we can still do more. So what we are expecting from them is just an assistant, you know, to assist us for our business, so that the business can grow, irrespective of the level of the business we are running. So I think that is what we are expecting from him.
My expectation is I want governor to build market for us, the road, the education, to make it be okay, and other beggars. There are some people who are begging in the streets. They don't have food. I want governor to help to support them, so that they can have food and other things. Or there are some graduates, they don't have work, so they need to have work. So governor needs to look out of them.
Nǹkan tèmi fẹ́ kó ṣe fún mi ni pé mo ń wá sọ kó fún wa lọ́jà ká tajà, ẹja lèmi máa ń tà. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa kọ́ ni ìka wa dọ́gba náwó tá máa fi gba ìsọ̀. So yẹ kí wọ́n gẹ̀ẹ́tì sọ fún wa bí tá máa ti free tá máa fi máa tajà. Wọ́n gẹ̀ẹ́tì ẹ̀ fún wa. Wà lè yá wọ́n sì ká kówó dání a máa jẹ níbọ̀ tá bá ti níbi tá máa ti jókòó fi tajà. It's a something.
I'm technologist. I'm not orange seller. It's because of the government demolished my shop. That's why I'm selling orange now. So the only thing I want government to do for us as a businesswoman, I want government to help us to pick up the big business, so that if he help us, our business will grow up. It's not person like me, I'm a technologist. I don't want to sell orange again. I want to go back to my job. It's the time of Fashola they broke up my shop. The new governor, my Sanwo Olu, I want Sanwo Olu to help me, because I'm one of our member. I'm APC, so I'm a member. I want her to help me.
Èyí mo kàn fẹ́ ní àtọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba sí ará ìlú, kí ìjọba ó ṣe normal, gbogbo ìlérí tí wọ́n ṣe fún ará ìlú kí wọ́n mú ṣẹ. Ìtẹ́mi fẹ́ nìyẹn. Gbogbo àwọn owó tó wà tí wọ́n ń gbà lórí táìsì tí wọ́n ń gba gbogbo ẹ̀ tí owó ti pọ̀jù tí price ọjà fi lọ sókè, kí wọ́n reduce ẹ̀. Nítorí pé tán bá reduce ẹ̀, àwa tá fẹ́ tajà náà tá bá ra ọjà ọ̀pọ̀ á lè tajà ọjà ọ̀pọ̀. Àmọ́ tá bá rajà wọ́n tá bá rà òun la máa tà. Kò jù báyẹn lọ.
I sell drinks. Like me, I want the government to like assist me. Yes, the governor to assist me with my business. As in, it's small. I know it's small, but I'm still okay with it.
As in, we need lights. We need light in this economy. We need lights. And we also need food to survive and shelter. Some people now, when the rain is falling, now you see them under the sun, sleeping anywhere. The governor is not trying at all. I swear to Almighty God. I just give you no scope. Yes, now. Government should create awareness, shelter. People along the streets, they should treat them well, give them what they need. You understand? And they say you just elect a new governor, and as it's not been as if they elect anybody. You understand now? Everything is the same as they are. You understand? Everywhere is not good now. The governor should try and increase the. You understand now? I mean, I know how to sing very well. I don't have any connection. I know how to. I can draw. I can play football. I can play. So they should just connect us. That would be very good now. So the Nigeria will be growing. It's like that. People will be sleeping around the streets. You see anybody anyhow. And again, one thing again about this SARS. They used to chase us, SARS. They should end SARS for us now. I don't like what they are doing.
Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu, to me, is a well-rounded person. He's hardworking, he's compassionate, he's full of wisdom, he's got so much empathy, he's a leader, he's a team player. I've worked with so many bosses in the course of my career, but honestly, thumbs up. He walks the talk. He doesn't just give you direction, he does with you. He is a leader in all ramifications. That is Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu that I know and I've worked with in the last 2 years, 3 months before he vied for the governorship of Lagos State.
Personally, I would describe Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu in 2 ways. One, as a union person. I'm presently the Secretary of Senior Staff Association of the corporation. So I would describe him from the union point of view and from a staff point of view. I remember one of the first thing Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu did when he came into office was invite the union representative. And one of the statements he made that day was that he invited us because we are a stakeholder in the corporation. And to me, that is a very wonderful idea because he sees us as a partner in progress, which is very wonderful. And going forward, he ensures that he engages us periodically when there are issues. So by this is actually being very proactive because before issues start, we've already discussed same with him, and this is very, like I said, means that he's a person that sees staff's welfare, that prioritizes staff welfare. And as a person, I've been opportune to meet and interact with him in many occasions. And I see him as a mentor, as a father, as a leader, and someone that has a very vast knowledge of experience. Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu is someone that encourages hard work and rewards hard work too. And he's a person that, like you do tell us that he's very finicky, he's very particular about his things. And one of the few things he did while in office, you actually can see that. He came here 2016, and in these 2 years, he has made a lot of changes to the corporation, one of which is his present block we are in. He actually turned the block around. And like you do say that, for a total overhauling of the system, you need people and a process. The process is easy, but you have to actually change the mindset of the people, which he actually did. He's a people's person. He makes sure that he actually interacts with you when he sees you. And if he forgets your name, he will ask again. That's one of the good things about him. And as a leader, he has 3 qualities which I actually admire. He's accessible, he's a listener, and he's selfless.
Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu, to me, is a man that fears God, and I believe that makes him wise, and that has helped him in his work in LSDPC. the wisdom that he exhibits has given him a better edge in the corporation.
Babajide Sanwo Olu is a leader and is a boss, and is another easygoing man, and he's always and over generous for me personally and full staff and you know, over caring.
Mr. Sanwo Olu is someone I find to be an astute administrator. He is a man with a vision. He's a man with a purpose, and he's a man that takes measured steps towards achieving his purpose. Spent only just about 2 years and I think about 3 months, 2 years, 3 months or thereabout here in LSDPC, and he was able to achieve very major positive changes. I would say he left lasting legacies. I'm sure you've seen some of his legacies around in terms of physical infrastructure, and he left legacies in terms of human capital development in that short period of time.
I can describe him in many forms because he's many things to a lot of people. But one thing that is very clear is looking at him from my own purview, which is HR. He is a man that has the workers' welfare at heart. Right from his inception here at LSDPC, he took staff welfare as his priority, even when there were challenges, because initially when he came in, the system wasn't too smooth, you know. At that time, there was challenge of funding. There was just so many challenges. We had HR, or rather, labor issues, you know. But he came in probably because of his experience both at the private and the public sector. He was able to resolve all the lingering problems within few months that he was there. In fact, I am also a testimony to one of his early achievements here at LSDPC. Before he came in as the managing director, the highest that any staff could get to here was the deputy general manager. So he came in and he said, well, I mean, if for him, he doesn't see anything stopping any staff here who is deserving of a deserving staff from getting to the zenith of his or her career. So we changed the existing rule, and it was the one that brought in the idea of elevating staff to the position of general manager. So that's how a few of us in the system were able to get to the position of general manager.
Well, Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu is an astute leader. He's a man of character. He's a leader and a mentor by excellence. He's ever interested in bringing out the best from this employee. And I've happened to have benefited immensely from his wealth of experience and his leadership style.
I joined LSDPC year 2000. So this is my 19th year. Mr. Sanwo Olu is a total package, like I said. I've had the privilege of working with about 5 CEOs directly, maybe one indirectly. And Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu encompasses all, everyone, we all have our SWOTs. And I always try to analyze what is weakness is. And usually I end up believing and just a takeaway that his weakness is actually a strength. In administering, maybe, what would I say? Maybe I want to call it penalty, punishment for any erring staff. He will turn it into positivity. So he doesn't see anyone as being totally useless. He would rather call you and have a chat with you, give you life experiences, give you examples. And before you realize, the person is turning around. So in comparing him with other CEOs, he comes down to everyone's level and he takes people as they are, and he believes everyone has a role to play and each and everyone must play. So to me, his management style is a totally different one, albeit very, very worthy of emulation, and it worked. He was there, like I said, 2 years, 3 months, and he was able to impact the people, the environment, and the process. It started what we call the Project Eagle. It's still an oncoming thing. The Project Eagle is to come up with new processes of doing things easier, faster, interacting with the public, ways of doing our job and service delivery, And the people, generally public servants, civil servants are seen as lazy, they're not ready to work and all that. It changed the face of that. And then the environment. Anyone coming to LSDPC in the last 2 years or 1.5, slightly before you came, the environment is totally different. My office, if you had been here in the last 2 years, this was like a rundown. Look, if you compare now, then it didn't look rundown. We all come here, we work and we go. But it's a totally new environment. This looks like a bank, So it actually affected all the facets of the corporation. Total package, honestly. BOS.
Before we came, we have this idea of, training especially is done when there is money. Is the first to suffer. Immediately there is problem with cash flow. But when he came in, he said, if you want to get the best from staff, you need to motivate them. So he took staff motivation as his priority. And no matter how financial constrained he had at that time, he ensured that every month or at every point in time, staff's training and other welfare are taken as priority. And at times, some of us wonder how he is able to achieve those things he achieved. The other thing that I also see is, since I got to LSDPC, I dare say I've not seen the infrastructure regeneration that he undertook, and he completed most of them. This office is a testimony. You need to be here some few years back and you see the state of the office. But he went around and he said, look, if you want your staff to give you the best, it's not only it's not only training them, you also must give them the best environment to work. And that will challenge them to give you the best. So he undertook that project. He started with Block A. That's where he was when he was there. And when he completed that Block A, people thought, oh, this is the best LSDPC I've ever seen. But little did they know that, he was just bringing out the bird from his pocket. He undertook this one too, and he did a complete renovation. At some point, some of us were thinking he's over trading, because when we looked at the cost implication of what he was doing, but he was able to achieve all those, with the problem of cash flow that was inherent in the system at that time. So apart from his love for staff welfare, I think he also came with some ingenious financial engineering that some of us don't really understand and we've never seen before he got here. Well, the other area that I can also comment on is his ability to bring out the best in every member of staff. Some of us before he came, we were not so challenged as to bring out the best in us. So when he came, he will give you the environment to excel, and he will also challenge you with tasks. He will give you a commensurate task to what he think, your experience should carry. And for some of us, it was a new experience because we were used to, I must do some admission here. Some of us were used to the usual standards, just do it. But when he came, he brought that touch of excellence, and it demands the best from you every time. And that was a challenge to every one of us. That most times we have to go back before you even go before him to make presentation. You ensure that you go back, you check and double check, and you see that, look, what I'm bringing will meet his standard. I won't say it's a pity he left so shortly, because if you compare what he did here to the number of years he did with us, you probably want to say he was the shortest CEO in terms of what he achieved compared to the shortest serving CEO in terms of the achievement, because we served under those who spent 10 years and they hardly achieved a quarter of what he achieved. So for me, he was a wonderful person, and in so many aspects, in terms of welfare, he was up there. In terms of bringing out the best in staff, he was there. And also, I need to mention this: he never failed to reprimand when necessary. When you take things to him and he thinks this does not meet the required standard, he won't fail to chastise you, and he won't do that because he hates you. At times when you leave, he will find time and call you and tell you, look, that thing could be done better than what you did. And he wasn't just out to hurt you, but he was there to correct you and ensure he brings out the best in you.
He achieved in so many areas while in LSDPC. He improved the life of staff in LSDPC. People were well trained when he was in LSDPC. Officers that had never been out on training were out on training. Most people that have not been considered, for capacity building to improve themselves in any area, they had the opportunity of adding knowledge to what they know before while he was in LSDPC. So I can say he had that as a credit to himself, improving the life of staff on the job, and even in their personal lives. Most people were well taken care of while he was in LSDPC. There's a particular opportunity that was made available to staff, which is staff advances to staff, for their welfare. During his tenure, everything was going on smoothly. People were able to, if you are lacking in any area, you can go to him. Even officially, you'll be considered, you'll be given, at least your life gets better. Leave bonuses were paid, furniture allowances were paid. People become, more comfortable when he was around. And you can see a lot of improvements still going on within the corporation. Those are his handiwork. That is what he started while he was here, he had added to the color of LSDPC, more building, better infrastructures here and there. Like this office that we are in was completed just some few months before he left LSDPC. And as a management staff, we had the opportunity of riding new cars. You know, that was to his credit. He did a lot.
Well, he came in at a time when things were a bit at a low ebb for the corporation. You know, operations-wise, we were a bit on the low side. But despite, you know, that situation, he was able to achieve a turnaround. You would recall that that was a period that even the national economy itself was not doing too well. And finances were hard. But Mr. Sanwo Olu was, he applied his ingenuity. By the time he left, we had close to about 6 projects, you know, with 3 or 4 at advanced stages. And all out of almost nothing. So he was able to create about 3 projects in the Lekki axis, doing very well. You know, we had about another 3 projects here on the mainland. So I would say that he is an ingenious person. He's an ingenious person. He applied himself to the job, was able to bring in his wealth of experience. You know, he has a wealth of experience, you know, having been in government, you know, for that period of time, and was able to leverage on that, you know, and I'm sure there are good things in the offing for Lagosians.
Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu is an astute leader, and like I said earlier, he's a person that is so much interested in bringing out the best from his staff. Before Babajide Sanwo Olu got to LSDPC, LSDPC has had a process, but the process was not as defined as much as it is now. And his 3 cardinal points while he was here was the people, the process, and then the environment. He was so much interested in the people, knowing fully well that it's the people that will drive the process. And that was why he invested so much in human resource development. During his time, a lot of staff, both senior, junior, and middle-ranking officers in the corporation went on training within the state, outside the state, and even outside the country. He was so much also interested in the environment. And you can also see that in the transformation that took place in Block B and in Block D. And he has already started in Block B before the clarion call came for him to lead the state as the governor. Where he also talked about the process. He made the process seamless. He made the process easy. And at the same time, he made the process to flow. And that was why he also started a project while he was there. And they call it the Project Eagle, trying to make sure that the process in LSDPC is seamless and also as fast as it could. And he has started working on that before he left. And you cannot, the comparison is, the difference is too clear. And we are so sure that he's coming to the state. The state will move forward and get better for it. Fine, like I said, this block is a physical, is one of the examples, and the receptions, and aside that, he actually invests a lot in staff welfare. Like during this program, most staff actually went for training. This is part of the process of improving, because it's like feeding the goose. that lays the golden egg. He actually invested in the staff, which is very nice thing to do. So it makes his staff feel part of this development process itself. And one of the program he actually engineered then was Project Eagle. And Project Eagle is actually an initiative to take LSDPC to the next level. And like Odu said, why did we choose Eagle? We chose Eagle then because of its peculiarity, its ability to survive and all that. Because we realized that we're in the construction industry. And whether we like it or not, LSDPC of today is not LSDPC of about 30 years ago. Before LSDPC 30 years ago, we were actually the only company that built house. But now we have a lot of competitors. And we have to stay edge above competition if we want to remain relevant in the industry. So because of this, that's one of the reasons we had Project Eagle, to revive the corporation, to the total overhauling.
In fact, a few times on load of one be from day one, don't be not number one, it will fund me personally for the past 20, let's say 19 years, we were corporation. Only promotion and gbogbo don't share for one share, but today at least one promote, one mini award.
It was still at work on a Friday, and by Monday morning, of course, weekend was full of activity. Mr. Sanwo Olu has been chosen as the party's candidate, and everyone's like, oh, and Monday morning, lo and behold, he didn't come to work. And the next management meeting, he had to call and he was put on speaker. I was like, just like that. He was still at work, carrying some files to him for, Oga, please, can you please look at it? And then, so it was how would I call it? Sweet and sour for us. Sweet in the sense that, yes, higher calling for him and the best for Lagos State. If given his antecedent and knowing who he is, and having even spoken to those, having had conversations to those he's worked with in the past and his person, this is the best for the state. God helping them with his running mate, honestly. And Sam was that, oh my God, this was his dream, changing the whole face of LSDPC. Everyone is already queuing into this thing. And this man is being just taking off us. We were shaking a bit, but knowing that we have to continue this legacy and we must not let him fail. And we're trying, and I hope that we're still maintaining the standard he left behind. For example, he started also what we call the Merit Award Day. In times past, we usually have end of year get together, thanking God, a party and all that. But he said he would rather have a Merit Award Day to appreciate and recognize staff who had worked meritoriously in the last 1 year. And this, I think, started June 2017. It came in 2016, like June. So a year later, we had this. And there was I think, let me say, maybe he likes dancing, I want to believe, or choreography. I said he would like for us to have a choreography group as well, to interject and put a little bit of fun into the day, the Merit Award Day. And I like dancing. That's my best hobby. So I became the class captain or the coordinator of the choreography group. And Mr. Sanwo Olu is a member, is a student. He would come for practice every day with us. He practices with us. The days he can't come, we usually have the practice 1 hour, I think 2 to 3, and everyone goes back to work. The days he can't come, he will tell us to please record, and we send to him and we practice. In fact, I think I have a picture on my table. This is what he has. This was the one we used in 2018. The one we used in 2017 was a blue colored one. He would dance with us on that day. He's suit, attending to people, giving awards, and when it's time for the choreography, Mr. Sanwo Olu will yank off his jacket, put on the t-shirt, and he joins us. Honestly, he's a leader who walks the talk. What we have seen in his campaign team, him getting down to helping people, the hairdresser, the mechanic, that is him. He will say, roll up your sleeves. Roll up your sleeves. It's not a leader or an MD that will sit down and expect you to do. No. Everyone must be involved. That is the kind of leader a man is.
When I heard about his candidacy, I was surprised because it came as just a surprise to me. And along the line, I have to adjust myself because I see it as an improvement, you know, on his own personality. And he's a man I've always been praying for, that God would, you know, take him to higher grounds because he's been so good to us as members of staff of LSDPC. So I have to adjust myself quickly as to, this man is going for something better. You better allow your mind to, you know, come together and just wish him well as a person, which I succumbed to.
Oh, I was very happy. Because while he was in LSDPC, I used to say, it's like somebody that when they announced him, I was happy. And like I used to say, it's like somebody that has capacity for 50 and is only given 5. So he's still at 45. Because I worked with him closely. And by God's grace, he's somebody that rewards hard work. I happened to have benefited when he came in 2000 and the first year when he came in, I happened to benefit from his leadership because he picked 3 of us as the outstanding staff of the MD. He picked us himself. And those of us that worked, the 3 of us, everybody adjured that we are very hardworking. So when he came into Lagos State, when he went to pick the form, I was very excited because I know that Lagosians will be happy for the governor that they have chosen. So I'm very excited. I look forward to his style of this, to his leadership in Lagos State. I look forward to a Lagos where things will work again. So I'm very happy. And I'm looking forward to his ascension of the leadership of Lagos State come May 29, 2019 by God's grace.
Really, I was actually excited. Really, I was actually excited because in the small, it's like they said, he that has been tested with small, will be tested with a large. In a small capacity, within 2 years, like I said, he has done a lot for the corporation. So when I now imagine with a lot of resources and the bigger scope, what the state will enjoy if by inshallah in 2 weeks' time is in the state of power.
Of course, I was happy for the state. If using his achievement here as a parameter, he probably will take the state to the level that we've never seen before, because I think cumulatively he spent 2 years or less here, and you need to go around and see what he achieved compared to most of his predecessors who were here for so many years. So taking that and applying it to the state, I am assured that it's going to transform the state. More so, he's not new to administration in the state. He was a commissioner, and his footprints are everywhere in the record of Lagos State on his achievements, things that were achieved during his tenure when he was in Treasury, and when he was also in, I think, establishment. That's the department that deals with, ministry that deals with HR and human resource issues. So I have this firm belief that he's going to achieve, and he's going to take the state to a greater height.
I feel pé ó dáa, but time tí wọ́n lò lọ́dọ̀ wa ń bí, àwa ò fẹ́ àfẹ́ kan lọ ńgbà yẹn. In fact, personally mi ìfẹ́ kan fi wálẹ̀, but kò sí nǹkan tá a lè ṣe. Mo mọ̀ pé the next level náà ló ń lọ, so everybody personally mo wà happy.
I believe, God willing, Lagosians thank God for the kind of people that, or the kind of candidates, or the kind of breeding that the former governor, Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been able to throw up. He threw up the likes of the former governor, current minister, Babajide Sanwo Olu. He threw up Femi Amzat, Dr. Femi Amzat, the running mate, and Mr. Sanwo Olu. These are people who have served in his cabinet. So I expect I'm expecting that Lagosians, I'm trusting and believing that Lagosians would see the best of governance with two technocrats that have learned from a former performer and now coming to deliver to Lagos State. So they've been to the school, they've learned, they've performed during the regime of Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Dr. Femi Amzat also served under the current minister, Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu. What are we to expect? And they're very humble and down-to-earth human being. They've got the values, they've got the right interpersonal relationship, they've got the technocrats, they've got the brain, and they're ready to work. Judging from the way the campaign went, going to every sector, having discussions, identifying the needs and the challenges, you can tell that they're already putting down a book on what the challenges are, what are the likely solutions. So they want to hit the ground running. Like Mr. Sanwo Olu himself would always tell us, let's pluck the low-hanging fruits. Let's pluck the low-hanging fruits, especially the one that would reach the populace. So I expect that Lagos State, in the next 4 years, by God's grace, we're going to have the best of governance. That is, judging, like I said, judging from what I have experienced within working here, judging from the campaign, judging from his running mate, Dr. Femi Amzat, what is done at the state, what is done at the federal level with the current minister, because he's a special advisor on works. I expect the best for Lagos State. I expect the dark areas that Lagosians are mourning about to be tackled immediately. So I believe governance will be felt in the first 1 year, and that things are really going to jump in 4 years. That is my belief, and I pray God proves me right, and they prove me right.
Lagosians should expect, let me say, the best, because while he newly came into LSDPC, we heard about him that when he was at the state office, he added a lot of improvements to people's life, the staff welfare, and you know, in the ministries where he had served before. So we were also watching and hoping that while in LSDPC, he would do something similar or better. And he didn't perform less than that. So Lagosians should expect the best during his tenure. That's just what I can say.
Really, I was actually excited. Really, I was actually excited because in the small, it's like they said, either has been tested with small, we tested with a large. In a small capacity, within 2 years, like I said, he has done a lot for the corporation. So when I now imagine with a lot of resources and the bigger scope, what the state will enjoy if by inshallah in 2 weeks' time is in the state of power.
Fàkè àwọn ará Èkó kan máa expect pé Babajide Sanwo Olu is a man tó yẹ pé changes máa wà ní Èkó. I trust láti dé wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ṣe báyìí ó máa affect láti everybody ni títí dé even those dé ọmọ kékeré pé ó máa ní impact lára nǹkan tó bá ṣe l'Èkó.
Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu, this is for you, boss. My Oga me. We know your worth, we know your standard, we know what you can do, and we believe you're not going to change. And if you're going to change, it's going to be for the better. Most of us have staked our neck, we've staked all that we've got, that this is a performer. God willing, please just go ahead and dazzle Lagos with performance. Let them see, oh my God, it's been good during Ashiwaju, it was better during the now we're having a blast in Lagos. That for me would be charm. And then, like he said, he wants to take Lagos to his theme, transportation, everything, to Lagos being a mega city. We're talking of Dubai. We want Lagos to be the Dubai of Africa. Honestly, that is my closing remark, and I believe that God has deposited all that you need, ably assisted by your deputy governor, and I believe that your cabinet, the one you're going to be having, you're going to be putting round pegs in round holes, and they'll key into your vision and mission, and you're going to ensure that they perform in your gentle manner, doing it gently, and ably assisted by your lovely wife. Because without the support of your spouse and having a peaceful home and peace of mind, the man would come to work and is just disoriented. So that's my prayer, my belief, and what I think Lagos is in for in the next 4 years. Amen.
My closing remark is that as I've always prayed for him, I still pray that as God has given him the opportunity to advance, God himself will sustain him. He's wearing a larger shoe, and I believe he didn't scheme himself to become the governor of Lagos State. God that has lifted him, brought him up, will sustain him, back him up, give him the wisdom beyond that which he has exhibited in LSDPC, because he's now, going to get himself involved with the state, as a whole. LSDPC is still a portion of the state. So beyond the wisdom that God granted him in LSDPC, God will give him a better opportunity in wisdom. He will be able to perform even beyond expectations. Because I told him when we met with him that people's expectations are so high. But I believe the God that backed him up in LSDPC will see him through all his tenure. He'll be able to perform even beyond the expectations of men by the grace of God.
Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu, you have excelled before, especially in the private sector and also in the public sector. And I have no doubt, amen, that you are going to excel in Lagos State. As we take us steadily, step by step, and as we follow you, by the time it's going to be 4 years, when we look back and we say, no, this cannot be Lagos. This is actually the Lagos of our dream.
Then we should all join hands, with the governor. We support him with our prayers. We should also support him with what is expected of us in terms of our civic duties. And once we do that, the sky is the limit for Lagos State.
Well, my closing remark is asking Lagosians to give him their maximum support and to be rest assured that he's a man that will not disappoint them.
I'm just happy for Lagosians because he's I can't say it's the best, but it's one of the best things that's happened to Lagos in recent times.
Gbogbo promise during the campaign tó ń ṣe fún àwọn ará Èkó, kó make sure pé wọ́n mú ṣẹ, and LSDPC particularly ṣe mọ̀ pé bí wọ́n ti kúrò lọ, so kó mọ̀ pé impact pé wọ́n di governor yẹn wọ́n máa do more fún wa ní LSDPC.
I think Lagosians should normally expect a robust administration, a responsive administration, because I know Jide Sanwo Olu. Jide is somebody who is fundamentally humble, and that's a very, very powerful factor in achieving success when you are in political office. Because when you are in political power or office, you are not there for yourself and your family alone, or your crony or friends alone. No. You are there to make life more convenient and easier for the entire citizenry of that particular milieu. And when you are humble, you are able to consult. You are not afraid to consult. You are not afraid to seek advice from the right quarters. It is humility that would open the right doors to you, and it is humility that would attract the right people to you. 2, experience. Sanwo Olu's had the experience in public administration, like I said. This is also why he was more visible than the other 2. He has had hands-on experience in a number of ministries in government. He served under Tinubu, he served under Fashola as well. And even under Ambode, he was managing director of LSDPC. So he's had quite an appreciable amount of exposure and experience to governance. It's not new to it. So he's going to hit the ground running. Number 3, he has very good interpersonal relationship skills. He's a very, 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 very cogent variable in achieving success in political, environment. You have to be able to combine professionalism and your technocratic capacity with your people's skills. And I see all of this in Jide Sanwo Olu. I've had interactions with him professionally and otherwise spanning several years. And I've seen those attributes in him. And that marks him out as a potential successful governor of Lagos. So I think Lagosians are honestly lucky, to have such a person coming on board to drive the state. And because of those critical attributes of his, that humility, the people's skills, plus the knowledge and the exposure and experience he's had, it's a no-brainer that he will succeed.
Well, I first want to thank, you, but also want to thank Lagosians that I'm excited with what we have ahead of us. I'm excited with the inauguration right around the corner and all of the things that we said we're going to do. I'm excited that once we get into power, that very, very quickly, we're able to show a clear roadmap to Lagosians on a month-to-month basis, where we're saying that our government will be open, our government will be inclusive, our government will be transparent, our government will be participatory, in which engagement will continue, in which issues that is burning to Lagosians, we will put it to the forefront and we will bring about solutions that will improve the quality of life. We will ensure that ease of doing business in Lagos are part of the quick things that we can resolve. We will ensure that all of the challenges that are within our immediate resolutions, right? Removing all of the red tapes in governance, that we can solve them very, very quickly. And on the medium to long-term basis, we will clearly articulate, our plans, policies, programs, and visions for Lagosians, so that while we're doing it, they will need to know what we're doing. While we're cooking it, they will need to know what exactly it is that we're doing. So we must have an action plan that will transparently explain to Lagosians what they need to expect 1 year down the line, what they need to expect 2 years down the line. And of course, the relationship has to be both ways. What we also will be expecting of Lagosians, we'll be expecting of the citizens, the behavior, the culture, the institutional change, the expectations on the revenues that we need to do all of those things. It's a contract that we will need to have with Lagosians. It's a contract that we need to have with the citizens, right? Where once they fill their part, we will certainly fulfill our part. So it's a social contract that we're putting on the table for everybody. And so it's to assure Lagosians that they've done the right thing, they voted the best team, and that the best team will ensure that quality of life is improved. Security of life and property is assured. Ease of doing business is well defined and is well articulated, such that at the end of our 4th term, right, Lagosians will have been better off for it.
This special edition of The Governor would not have been made possible but for the contribution and support of a few people who we called upon at very, very short notice, and yet were committed to supporting the publication. In particular, I'd like to say a big thank you to His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo Olu. Congratulations, sir, and I do thank you for your support, for granting us this interview immediately. We asked for it at short notice and making all things possible. I would also like to thank His Excellency, the former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Otunba Femi Pedro. Thank you very much, sir. He also just immediately, we asked him, said, please come over and supported us. He contributed to the interview. And also former Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Lagos State, my dear Egmont, Mr. Dele Alake, who just opened up himself, gave us free access and just said, come along and do the interview. To the Deputy Chairman, APC Lagos State, again, a wonderful elder, wonderful Egmont, wonderful uncle, a perfect gentleman who said, please come over, do this interview. If it's for APC, if it's for Babajide Sanwo Olu, I'm definitely in. And we went there and he gave us all the necessary support. I say a big thank you to Chief Sunni, Akinsanya, Ajose. Thank you for your support, sir. So I'd like to say a big thank you to the members of staff of LSDPC who had just enough words, to say and describe His Excellency BOS. I'd like to say a big thank you to the MBA class, University of Lagos, 1998 to 2000, who were so ready to grant us the interviews when we requested. Thank you. I'd like to say a big thank you to members of the AIG Media Pro, the crew, as well as Ibile TV media crew, for making this possible. Sleepless nights all over the state, interviews, and just doing their best. I thank you all. Without you, this will not have been possible. In particular, I'd like to single out Adeyinka Ibenoba, the editor of The Governor, and now joint editor-in-chief of The Governor. Without her, just skills, without her striving, without her, she gave it all. I mean, she went out of her way. The moment I mentioned to her that we were doing this special edition, she just gave all she had. And I say thank you to you, Adeyinka. And finally, to Lagosians at large who supported us when, at the interviews on the street. Thank you. The orange seller, the market woman, the fish seller, the youth coppers, and who just felt, look, if this interview is about Babajide Sanwo Olu, we want to be part of it. Thank you. And we do appreciate your just being part of this special edition of The Governor. Thank you. I hope you enjoy as you watch or as you read and as you listen. Do have a wonderful day.